Our viewers, once again, here we are today, Worldview Talk Show. We have as our guests the parent, the mother of Eric Garner, Gwen Garner, and the father, Ben Garner. Welcome, and today's topic is police-community relations. So we're going to hit on this topic today, and we start with Ms. Garner. What you have for us today?
Good afternoon. It's good to be here. By the way, my name is Gwen Carr,
Okay.
and I'm just, glad to be here talking about, how we could remedy different situations in the communities.
Okay. And we know it needs a lot of work.
Yes, it does.
Yes. And I see that this journey of yours from mother to grandmother to activist it's something really powerful, and I am really proud to have to meet you and know that you have the will to go on in spite of.
Yes, sometimes this is what we have to do. Not what we want to do, but what we need to do.
Okay.
And I think everyone needs to take a stand, even if this tragedy hasn't happened to you yet.
Yes.
But we don't want to wait till it knocks on our door to try to take actions. We want to prevent it from happening again.
Okay, so it's a matter of educating people.
Definitely.
In a manner where, like you said, we could avoid circumstances and situation arising like this again, and build a better relationship with the police department, and I believe that educating them on how to deal with people in a better manner.
That's so true, because there's so many times that police officers come into unfamiliar waters or unfamiliar neighborhoods, and they don't know how to police the people that are in their area. For instance, we have police officers that come out the suburbs who has never dealt with urban children before, and they ride around in their cars instead of getting out of the cars. I think it would be better communication if the police would know the people who they are policing, if they would develop a relationship with the people that they are policing, know the parents, know the children. If something happens, the police officers shouldn't be so readily to arrest children, boys and girls, for such, for petty crimes. But instead, if you knew the parent, you can go and talk to the parent and let them know what is going on with their children. But it seems like in communities of color, the police officers are so quick to give the youngsters a record where this affects them all the way down the line, all their life. When they can't get jobs, they can't get into housing, they can't get loans because of a record that they obtained when they were just a youngster. And I don't think that that is right. So we do need better community relationships with the police officers. We need the community to come together so that they can have better relationship with their children, and more activities I think we need in the neighborhoods.
Yes, it keeps the kids making better choices. I remember growing up, you said something real powerful there. And me as host Norberto Cruz, I remember growing up and my parents knew the police officers
Yes.
that constantly
Yes.
patrolled the neighborhood, and I respected them as they were family. And they talked to me in a manner that where they weren't putting me down, where they weren't judging me, where they knew that I was a child
Exactly.
and I needed some direction.
And that's the way it used to be. It was the same way in my neighborhood, although when I grew up on the street I lived on was predominantly black, but we had white police officers as well as maybe a black police officers here and there that came down the street, but as you said, they talked to us like children. If they seen us do something, sometimes they would chase us, get in the house, you have no business doing that, or something like that. But they didn't try to abuse you. Like there's so much abuse and terrorizing going on today, and that needs to stop.
Yes, and it's a matter of how you look at a person. You're a police officer, how you look at a person. And unfortunately, a lot of that comes on how they grew up, how they were taught.
Yes.
So that has to change. But I know as a fact that the police officers that patrolled the neighborhood that I grew up in, which was Park Slope, I lived there for 46 years.
And I lived near there. They used to call the area that I grew up. I was living like Warren between 3rd and 4th Avenue.
Yes, yes.
And as you got to 5th
That's
Avenue.
still Park. Now they changed it. They call it Park Slope.
Yes,
Yes,
and
yes.
Well, it was South Brooklyn when I lived there.
South Brooklyn, yes.
And like when you get to Prospect, Warren turned into Prospect Place, then Park Place, then
Yes,
Sterling.
yes.
All of those.
Oh,
that's
wow,
all-
you bring it
yes,
back from Union,
Union,
President Carroll,
First Street,
Dean
Second
Street, Second
yeah.
Street,
Yeah.
Atlantic Avenue, Flatbush Avenue,
yeah.
all of that.
All the good days.
Yes, so they were good days.
Yeah.
But again, that I think that's the key. And there's a gentleman that I know. He happens to be a pastor, and him and I were talking about the situations that when he was a detective, he was a captain, and he said that when he was a detective, that's what they used to do. They got to know the individuals that were down and out. They got to know those people that had taken the wrong turn for whatever reason, and they helped the police officers.
Of course.
In certain circumstances and situations. And the police officers gave them respect, they gave each other respect. But again, it's a matter of, let's put it this way, getting to know your neighbor.
That's right.
Right.
And that's what you should do. You should know your neighbor, who's next door to you. You should know their children. The children should know you. And the police officers, they do need, better communication. That is all in communication sometime. If you take the time to learn the people, and none of the neighborhoods, they don't want a thief or they don't want someone who's going to snatch pocketbooks in their area.
Of course
They
not.
would tell the police who they are if they had a better relationship with them, because nobody wants this. Nobody wants you to snatch their mother's or their grandmother's purse.
That's right. So communication is key in life in general. You have a little baby, right? A little baby don't know how to talk. Well, he learns how to communicate with you with his crying, right?
Yes.
So
right.
so it's the same thing with sometimes you see a young child that's starting off the wrong way in life, and they're doing certain things that are not right, that could hinder their future.
Right.
So what happens that if, like you said, you have more activities, and also the parents get more involved with their children,
Exactly.
It'll work together, because united we stand.
Exactly.
The neighborhood has to unite. What would you say, my brother?
We fall. Like you said, the united we stand and divided we fall.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
And the parents, they play a great part in this also. I think the parents in all neighborhoods need to go to more PTA meetings. They need, because if you go to PTA meetings, then you can have a say on what's going on with the children in the school, the recreation in the school, or building on the recreation that's already there. Then outside the schools, you should have parent meeting with other community leaders so that you could get things done and take the children out the street, put them on football teams, put them on basketball teams, have something for them to do after school or on the weekends instead of just being out in the street.
Yes, and the street brings what?
Trouble.
Trouble all the time.
Yeah.
Like half of the kids are in the street all the time of night. 11, 12 o'clock at night, the young kids still in the street. Where are the parents?
Yes, yes. So then it's an issue also that maybe the parents got some issues that they got to straighten out
Yes,
too.
yes.
You know, because the apple don't fall far from the tree. You know, I grew up in a situation in a neighborhood that was heroin infested.
Me too. Well, you grew up in the same neighborhood.
Yeah, heroin infested. A methadone clinic that they burnt. It was on 21st Street and 3rd Avenue. I don't know how many times people try and burn it down. They always build it back up. So what happens? You get caught up in those things. I got caught up in addictions, and by the grace of God, 20-something years ago, He set me free.
Great.
And I understand that that's what could happen to our children. Right. You know, and then once that comes about, then the ball really starts rolling a little faster in their life. And what can they accomplish?
Yeah.
You know, like you said, there's a check mark that you can't erase.
That's so true. And police officers, they so ready to victimize the children, the drug users and the children. And years ago, you know, back like in our time, it was such a crime, you know, to be a drug user. Not a drug dealer, but a drug user. And now it's a sickness because it has traveled into the white community. So now they're labeling it as a sickness, which has been a sickness all the time.
All the time.
But now that it's hitting home for them, it's a sickness. And it should have been a sickness all the time.
Long time ago.
Long time ago.
They have, there's a division there, you know, between if it's minority,
it's criminalized.
It's criminalized. If it's not minority, it's a sickness.
Yes.
And it's really not fair to anyone because, you know what, it's hurting both parties.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that we need help.
Yes.
And like you said, unless the parents get involved and there's power in numbers,
Yes.
It's going to keep on going.
Yes.
And it's only going to get worse.
Yes.
It's only going to get worse. You know, I have a home on it by Victory and Bay, close to there, and it hurts so bad when I see people. They're stuck.
Yeah,
They're
bad.
stuck. They don't know how to get out of it. They don't know how to break those chains.
And it doesn't seem like anyone is trying to help. See, we should have neighborhood and community resources to help those people, not just try to make them go away. They should be helped.
Quick fixes don't work.
No, they
That's the bottom
don't.
line.
It's a long-term journey. So we need to start doing that because there's some people that are crying out for help, but there's no help around.
And they don't know how to.
They don't
They
know.
don't even know how to cry out for help. You know, when, you know, I always think about this. I never woke up one day and said, you know what, I want to be a junkie.
No.
Right?
Nobody did say they
I
was-
want to be an alcoholic. You know, I want to be this and I want to be that. And I became all of that stuff, you know. And again, by the grace of God, He broke those chains, but I had help.
That's right. But you got to first want to help yourself.
Yes, you know, we got to reach a point of surrender. And I found my point of surrender through Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You know, my Lord and Savior. And there's no other way that I could have done it.
No.
You know, and one of the things that I think about all the time that the state has removed God out of the picture.
Oh, yeah, a long time ago.
So
A long time ago
I
in the
remember
schools.
when we used to pray in school.
Uh-huh.
School,
Yeah, they
yes.
took
Right?
that out.
Oh,
They
yes.
took that out.
And my father used to say they took prayer out of the schools and they brought the guns in. He said that many
Mm-hmm.
years ago. And at the time, there was not really, you didn't hear too much of shooting
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
school.
yeah,
But
yeah.
he sure would say that. He said they took God out of the schools and brought the guns in.
So when you take God out of the picture,
Mm-hmm.
we get what we're seeing now.
Yeah.
The dollar bill, 20, single, whatever it says, in God we trust.
Uh-huh.
But who's trusting in them?
Right.
Not, unfortunately, not our government, not all of them.
Go.
So something's got to be done. Again, like you said, the parents got to get together on a consistent basis, and fight for their children.
Oh, yes.
Because you see them at 3 years old, they're okay. How are they at 18?
That's right. Well, discipline comes from the crib, I think. And this is what my parents used to teach. Because my parents used to say, especially my father says, if you don't discipline a child from the beginning, there is going to be some discipline going on, whether it's by the parent or the police.
Yes.
He said, and the police do not beat with love.
No. So the bottom line is it starts at home. But something's got to be done about police relationships.
Yeah.
Our police, somebody has to step up. And you know what? If the communities get together and they cry loud enough, something will happen.
Yeah.
But they start off with a bonfire. We start off sometimes we're gung ho for something, and then it starts
Just
to die
dies
out.
down. Yeah.
It dies out. Everybody, the people that have not been under a tragic situation with a family member, so on and so on, they die out.
Yeah,
They forget.
Right. They
They
come
forget
when the
the pain.
cameras are there,
When they-
and afterwards, when there's no more cameras, they go home, and you don't hear from them anymore.
Yeah.
just something happen again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it happens again, and then you get another big crowd. So the bottom line is, we got to pray.
Yeah, we
Pray
do.
without
See, and I
ceasing.
think if they would take some of the officers out of these cars
Yes,
and put them
yes.
on the street because they ride around all day long doing what they want to do, who know whether they've been drinking or whatever. When there was something happen, because they don't give them no test or nothing.
Yeah, so the police got to be policed.
Yeah,
You know?
that's true.
And-
But who's policing the police? Other police?
Yeah, so then what happens then?
Yeah.
The
We have a
other one, too.
breakdown.
So, wow. So how you guys doing?
Well, I'm blessed. I'm still hanging on. I'm still out there trying to fight for justice, even though it's too late for my son. I'm trying to fight for other people's children, the unborn, and I'm just got to keep this fight out because we can't keep going the way that we are.
No, because the future of our children, especially minority, we see where it's going.
Yes.
Yes.
We see where it's going. But also, something that's real big that we mentioned already is how the parents got to step up their game.
Yes.
And education is key. We no longer have to say, well, I remember my father did this, so I'm going to do this, or my grandfather did this. And high school is not enough anymore.
No, that's a stepping stone.
That's just a stepping stone. So, again, getting some activities for the children. I remember growing up, you could play basketball, you could play football, you could play baseball, you could go during the winter to play basketball at one of the schools around the neighborhood, and that did help me. But I strayed when I got older. But while I was younger, it was good. I was good. I strayed when I got older. I had a situation where my father was an alcoholic, and life was a mess at home. You know, I love him today. We have a great relationship. I don't hold that against him. God has given me peace with that. But everything affects our children. So, parents, I say, let's start being better examples.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and it starts with us.
And
You know, so that's the bottom line. So, anything that you want to add, my brother?
Mm. Well, all I can add, that we do as much as we can for our kids, and we got to get more places for them to keep them off the street.
Yes, yes. The streets are dangerous.
The streets are dangerous.
Especially as it gets dark at night.
There's nowhere to go but back to the streets, and they don't go in the house.
No,
They're
no.
in the street 2, 3, or 4 o'clock in the morning.
That hurts when I see that, because I know where that's going to lead them. You know, and the thing is, the thing about this day, whether you live on the south side of Staten Island or you live on the north side, drugs are rampant now.
they are.
You know, you have these Oxycontin, you have this Percocet, you have this heroin with fentanyl. You have now they're adding the fentanyl to the cocaine. We have all those things. So if we don't police our own children, the police are just going to lock them up. You know, so, and I'm not trying to beat up on no one. I'm just, I'm being real,
Yeah.
you know. And you know what? Sometimes we do a great job with our kids and they turn out. They don't
Yeah,
turn.
well, you only could lay the foundation.
That's
They
right.
have to build a house.
That's right. Yes, exactly. You know, unless the foundation is solid, you know, they may stray. When you build the foundation, you hit home on that one. There's a scripture about foundation being solid, solid foundation. If the winds come and the foundation is solid, it may tremble a bit,
But it'll
but it'll
stand.
stand.
That's right.
You know, so to that point, I say that if the foundation is right, they'll know how to make better choices. They may stray for a while, but they're gonna come
They'll
back.
come back
It says
because of their teaching. Yes.
Exactly. It says teach your child the ways of God, and when they grow older, that seed is planted. And yes, they may stray and want to party a little and do a little this, a little that. But you know what? Christ is somewhere in there.
Yes.
So that's what's going to make the biggest difference.
That's so
But even if our family is not Christ-centered, there's still something they could teach their children.
yes.
You know,
You always teach your child right from wrong.
That's
no
right.
matter if you're religious or sacrilegious. You teach them what's right and what's wrong and what's not going to hurt them and which way they should go.
Yes,
And
amen.
we must tell them that. And we must be real with our children. We have to tell them how these streets are dangerous out here. We must tell them about the police, although the police is supposed to serve and protect us. And we must tell them, like in the black community, sometimes that doesn't always happen
Yes, yes.
because I can't even say lack of training, because all police officers, they do go to an academy and they're supposed to be well trained and well versed when they come out of that community, out of that academy. But sometimes some police officers, not all, because we do have some good police officers.
Like
but
in everything, like in everything else.
And
Yeah.
everything, it's
But-
always a bad one.
But
Yeah,
then
yeah, there's
when a
always a bad
police
apple.
officer has his own agenda, when extra training, none of that is going to matter. You know, because they're on their own agenda. They got their own way set
Their
of how
own
to
view already of certain
exactly
individuals.
because there's so much deep-seated hate, so much deep-seated segregation and racism in a lot of people because it was taught in their homes. So if it was taught in your home,
still being
this is
taught.
what you believe and this is what you go by. So, you know, because actually you cannot teach common sense. The only thing you could do is have them.
That's
because
right. That's right.
and then some things happen, just like what happened with my son. Common sense would have told them, let him go, he can't breathe. But common sense did not kick in. Their deep seat hatred seemed like kicked in.
It was about their assignment for that moment in time.
But not even your
what their
assignment, you wasn't treating it like it was supposed to be treated
Mm-hmm.
because they used the illegal chokehold.
The chokehold, yes,
that was
yes.
banned for 20 years, so that was not their assignment.
So what happens is that, like you said, there's some that will stray from the rules and regulations,
Yeah.
and they have their own agenda, their own point of view. You know what? That if they plant a certain seed in us when we're young, it stays there.
Of course.
If it's positive,
It was positive.
it'll be positive. If it's negative,
It'll be negative.
So again, I believe also that in certain neighborhoods, they should have police officers that are of the same race.
Well, and
Somewhat.
but a good police officer is a good police officer, and a bad police
no
officer
matter
is
what
a bad
race they
police
are.
officer.
Yes.
It doesn't matter the race.
Okay.
You know.
But so what happens is the point here is that our relationship has to get better with the police, but the police has to make the effort also to make it happen. Our politicians have to step their game up.
Right? And who has to make them step the game up?
The only
Us.
ones that could do it is us.
We
Yes,
the only
yes.
ones. If we elect them, we put them in there, we can take them out.
Take them out.
And tomorrow's election day, you have your chance.
That's
right.
right.
there.
That's right. So don't forget, vote. You
Yeah,
know,
if you
that's
don't do anything else tomorrow, get up and vote. Many people died to give us that right. So please get up and vote.
And you know what? Let's touch a little on that. People want change, but they don't vote.
Right. They don't put effort into the change.
It does, you know, what they say, if I vote, it don't matter. No, that's a lie. It does matter.
And a lot of it is just laziness.
Yes,
a lot of
yes.
it is that, oh, I don't like the candidates that's running. Whether you like the candidates that's running or not, one of those candidates are going to get in office, whether you vote or not. So why not pick your candidate and don't let someone else pick them for you?
Yes, and it's, but see, also, like you said, some people are lazy. It takes a little homework to get to know who they are. You may not know them personally.
No, but you
But
can read.
You can read, do a little research. So that's just a little advice. Guys, who's ever watching or will be watching, it's on you. You know, we want change. Change comes when we unite
That's
and
right.
we vote. That's our only way to really get things to change.
That's all.
You
That's
know,
the only
to
way.
have a better relationship with the police officers, and us, and vice versa. But if we don't vote, then we can't cry about it.
Voting is our most powerful tool, whether we believe that
That's
or not.
our greatest weapon. You know, so how about give me a little tidbit on the book.
Oh, well,
This stops today.
my book is named It Stops Today, and it tells about the life of my son, the life and death of my son. It touches on my childhood and about my activism. And I'm just trying to save lives with, and there's so many different excerpts in there, and I just hope everybody reads it.
Okay, thank you, dear. And well, guys, here we are again, Worldview Talk Show. And again, we have here Garner and Ben Garner. And we thank you. Ben Garner.
Ben Carr.
Carr. I'm sorry. But here we are. I messed it all up.
That's okay. People call me Garner all the time.